Namaste. Myself, Dr. Utkarsh. Our today's session on biology would prove useful, especially for our class 12th Maharashtra State Board students. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Before moving on towards our main chapter, let me first introduce with the syllabus of a class 12th biology of Maharashtra State Board. Basically, our syllabus of class 12 subject biology of Maharashtra State Board is divided into 5 units, and those are unit number 1 reproduction, unit number 2 genetics and evolution, unit number 3 is physiology, unit number 4 is applied biology, unit number 5 is ecology and environment. Under each unit, we have certain chapters. So, under unit 1, reproduction, we have two chapters. Chapter number 1 is reproduction in lower and higher plants. Chapter number 2, under unit reproduction, is reproduction in lower and higher animals. Chapter number 3, under unit number 2, which is genetics and evolution, is inheritance and variation. Chapter number 4 is molecular basis of inheritance. Chapter number 5 is origin and evolution of life. Under unit number 3, which is physiology, we have chapter number 6, which is plant water relation, chapter number 7, which is plant growth and mineral nutrition, chapter number 8, which is respiration and circulation, chapter number 9, which is control and coordination. Under Unit 4, which is applied biology, we have chapter number 10, which is human health and diseases, chapter number 11, which is enhancement of food production, and chapter number 12, which is biotechnology. And under last unit, which is a unit number 5, ecology and environment, we have a chapter number 13, which is organisms and populations, a chapter number 14, which is ecosystems and energy flow, and then the last, which is chapter number 15, biodiversity, conservation and environmental issues. So today I'll be starting with the chapter number 8, which is respiration and circulation of our unit 3 physiology of subject biology class 12th. Yeah. So now we'll start with the chapter number 8 respiration and circulation of unit 3, which is physiology. Basically, in the chapter number 8, which is respiration and circulation, we'll be studying two processes. First being respiration and the second being circulation. And likewise, two systems. First being respiratory system and secondly the circulatory system. So for now, we'll start with the first process, which is respiration. So A, respiration. So I'll start with the introduction itself. Respiration, the definition of respiration. Respiration is a biochemical process in which oxidation of organic compounds occurs in an orderly manner for the liberation of chemical energy in the form of ATP. I'll repeat once again. Respiration is a biochemical process in which oxidation of organic compounds occurs in an orderly manner for the liberation or release of chemical energy in the form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. Here you can see the chemical reaction of respiration. This is one molecule of glucose. So C6H12O6 plus 6O2, it gives 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus 38 molecules of ATP. This is basically the definition of respiration. That is the process respiration. Now, in respiration, there is gaseous exchange between organism and the environment. That is, gaseous exchange takes place between organism and environment during the process of respiration. Moving on towards the very first beat of our chapter, which is 8.1, organs of respiratory exchange or organs of gaseous exchange. Before studying or before moving on towards the main content, first let's try to understand the term respiratory surface. Respiratory surface basically is a site where gaseous exchange takes place, or the site where gaseous exchange takes place is termed as respiratory surface. Some of the main features of this respiratory surface are: first, the respiratory surface should have a large surface area. Second feature, the respiratory surface should be thin, it should be highly vascular, and most importantly, permeable in order to allow the gaseous exchange. And the third feature is the respiratory surface should be moist and not dry. So these are the main features of respiratory surface. Yeah. So let's try to understand a bit 8.1, which is organs of respiratory exchange or organs of gaseous exchange. So basically, this bit is divided into two subbits, which is A, gaseous exchange in plants or respiratory exchange in plants, and B, which is gaseous exchange in animals or respiratory exchange in animals. So basically, a beat 8.1, which is organs of respiratory exchange, is divided into two subbits. First is the gaseous exchange in plants, and second is the gaseous exchange in animals. So we'll try to understand the first subbeat, which is gaseous exchange in plants or respiratory exchange in plants. So basically, the process of respiratory exchange in plants takes place through diffusion. Now, diffusion, we all know, that is from higher concentration to the lower concentration. So, the process of gaseous exchange in plants or respiratory exchange in plants takes place through diffusion. Now, these plants have many air spaces between the cells of their leaves, stems, and roots, which contains pores on their surface termed as stomata, through which this diffusion takes place. You have to refer the figure 8.1a, where they had depicted the picture or the figure of stomata. Secondly, as woody plants or as the flowering plants basically have an external impervious bark. Impervious means impermeable. They have external impermeable bark, hence gaseous exchange or respiratory exchange in such type of woody plants takes place through small pores which are present on the surface of their stems termed as lenticles. So for this we need to refer the figure 8.1b. So this is how gaseous exchange or respiratory exchange in plants takes place. So this is basically the core essence of a first subbeat of the first bit, which is organs of respiratory exchange. So from this we could understand that the organ of respiratory or gaseous exchange in plants are first stomata and second lenticles. Moving on towards the second subbeat, which is gaseous exchange in animals or respiratory exchange in animals. So basically, this subbeat they have represented in the form of a table. So in order to understand this, we need to refer the table 8.2 of a state board, Maharashtra State Board textbook, so which is quite easy to understand. So, today, students, we had discussed the introductory part of our chapter where we had discussed the definition of respiration, and then we had started with the very first beat of our chapter, which is organs of respiratory exchange or organs of gaseous exchange. In this, we had studied very first, which was the respiratory surface. The main features of respiratory surface we had discussed, where we had studied three main features of respiratory surface, followed by the core beat, which was first respiratory exchange in plants, and second respiratory exchange in animals. So in my upcoming video, we'll be starting with the second beat of our chapter, and which is the important beat of the chapter, which is 8.2 human respiratory system. So thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned. Thank you.